This man will become crazy or will go far beyond our imagination and leave us behind him. Camilla Pissarro made these two predictions with no idea that both of them would turn out to be true. I put my heart and my soul into my work, and have lost my mind in the process. Vincent van Gogh would pronounce these words on the last day of his life. Vincent van Gogh was born on March 30th, 1853, 1 year after the stillborn birth of one of his brothers. His parents feared for his life for a long time, and this prevailing feeling of worry in the family may have influenced the mentality of the child. He grew up to be an unsociable and gloomy child who could spend many hours in wandering about his surroundings, observing plants, and watching animal life. When Vincent was 8 years old, he started to sketch everything that seemed interesting to him. Later, he enjoyed reading, devouring with eagerness one book after another, from novels to philosophic papers. At the age of 16, Vincent sold paintings in a shop. Everything associated with paintings was of great interest to him, and he closely studied the canvases that were on sale. When he was transferred to work in London, he also spent all his time studying art. He visited museums, picture galleries, and antique shops. 7 years later, Van Gogh left this job because he did not want to take orders from his new employers and shower praise on the talentless splatters shown in their galleries. He entered a miserable period of trying to determine his calling. At first, he taught in a private English school in exchange for shelter and food. Later, he worked as an assistant minister in a church and studied with the religious faculty at the University of Amsterdam. He never received the rank of minister, but, at his own risk, went to the large coal mining district of Borinage in South Belgium to spread the gospel. The hard and dirty job of exhausted and poor miners raised his compassion and sympathy. He always tried to help them, often giving them everything he had. The workers, in return, named him the Second Christ, and his relatives called him a lazy person and freeloader. For 9 long months, half-starved, restless, ragged, Vincent wandered about Borinage, socializing with miners and painting a large number of pictures from life. On October 1880, Van Gogh went on foot to Brussels to study art. He pounced upon the work and industriously copied pages from anatomical sketches and the canvases of old masters in museums. When he returned to his small room, he would immerse himself in books. That was the way of his everyday life, without any break for himself. During that time, he spent a summer in Etten with his parents, where he unexpectedly fell in love with his cousin, Guy Voss. However, the feeling was not returned, throwing the young man into despair. It seemed to him as if a gravestone was pressing down on him. Van Gogh went to Hague, and again was absorbed in his work. Once the young painter made an acquaintance with a young but tired and sick woman of the streets. Her story greatly impressed him, and he had decided to marry her. His brother Theo talked him out of the union, and several years of living together in poverty and suffering, Van Gogh parted with his beloved. Another period in his life ending in failure. Only a paintbrush and paints were able to save him from sadness and depression. He lived in seclusion and worked without regard for his own needs. He said that he painted with such eagerness that it was impossible to do anything else. During this period, he created one of his most famous canvases, the Potato Eaters. In Antwerp, Van Gogh entered the School of Fine Arts, but very soon his health, that was already weakened from hard work, became worse. He went to his brother in Paris, where he discovered the masters of Impressionism. However, in 2 years, he realized that he was tired of the crowd of artists and went to the south of France to Arles. Here he poured out a huge number of landscapes, depicting on the canvas everything that he caught with his eye. Suffering from loneliness, Van Gogh invited Paul Gauguin to Arles. With the arrival of his friend, the state of Vincent's mind became better. However, in as soon as 2 months, the overbearing and direct Gauguin declared that he was going to leave because he was not able to stand the constantly changing mood of Van Gogh. Vincent, in a fit of frenzy, fell on Gauguin with a razor in his hand. Later, when he returned home, he was horrified that he had come close to killing his friend, and in his distress had mutilated his own ear. Now, fits of rage happened more and more often with him, and in 1889, he, by his own free will, went to the mental hospital of Saint Paul de Massol. In the moments when he felt better, he continued to feverishly draw, sometimes creating 2 pictures per day. However, his art was not able to save him. Van Gogh considered himself an unlucky person whose life was fully ruined. On July 27, 1890, he shot himself with a revolver. In 2 days, he died. He was 37. Experts of fine arts sometimes call Van Gogh post-impressionist and sometimes expressionist. However, the painter himself never created any theories about art. He just depicted people and subjects as he saw and felt them.